Hello everyone. Today we are going to start a new chapter, directing. This is the fourth function of management. After planning, organizing, staffing, the next one is directing. See what we have done in staffing. In staffing, we have selected the right person and placed him at the particular position, the right position for which he has been selected. But the actual work begins when that selected employee get instructions, orders from the superior. And the superior not only gives the orders and instruction to the subordinate for doing the work, but he also inspires him for the job and influences his behavior and leads him towards the achievement of organizational goal. So, directing is instructing, guiding, inspiring and motivating the employees. The superior, he is giving instructions, he is guiding him how to do the job and then inspiring his behavior and then motivating him to do the particular job, to perform the job so that the organizational goals are achieved. So this is what directing is. After directing, we have to do the elements of directing. There are 4 elements: supervision, motivation, leadership and communication. This we don't have to do. We'll start with motivation. So motivation is inspiring and inducing an employee, a person to perform. It is the will to work. Then we have leadership. Leadership is influencing the behavior, influencing the employee. So what in leadership, a leader influences the behavior of the people, and this is exchange of ideas and information. Exchange of ideas and information. So these are the 3 elements of directing which we have to do, and this we will do in detail in the PPT.
Directing. This is the 4th and a very important function of management. See, directing means giving orders, instructions to the subordinates. As you can see in the picture also, the superior is giving instruction. He is guiding the subordinates to move in a particular direction. He is showing the direction that you have to move in this direction for achieving your targets. If you want to achieve the target, you have to move in this particular direction. You have to follow this path. So this is directing. Directing is concerned with guiding, inspiring, motivating the employee. See, it is not that the superior will give orders and instruction, but he has to see that his orders and instructions are being followed by the subordinates or not. So he has to tell the people what they have to do, what they are supposed to do, and then he has to inspire the employees, inspire the subordinates to work also, so that they work efficiently, so that they do the best of their ability. So this is what directing is. It is a very important function. It is a key managerial function. Then we have to do the importance of directing function. First is to initiate action. See, before this, we have done planning, organizing, staffing, and these all were just the preparation. In planning, we have decided our future course of action, what we are going to do. And next, in organizing, we have created departments in the organization. Then we have made clear the reporting relationship that was established, and then in staffing we have selected the right person for the right job. We got the employees there, but the actual work begins when the superior guides, instructs the subordinates to work. So this is the first importance, that it initiates action. Second is integrates employees' effort. See, a number of employees are working in the organization at different levels and in different job positions. They have different authorities and they are assigned different types of job. but their jobs are interrelated. So there is a need to integrate the employees' effort to coordinate their effort. So this is done with the help of directing. Next comes, it acts as a means of motivation. See, the superior guides, instructs, gives orders to the subordinate, and the superior also motivates the employee to perform to their best ability. Okay, it directing develops the feeling of belongingness, and it encourages the employee to perform efficiently. So it's a means of motivation. And next is balance. See, there are different types of people, as I said earlier also, they have different attitudes. So balancing in the organization means their attitudes are different, and directing helps in balancing the attitude of different employees in the organization. Then it facilitates change. See, generally the employees, the workers, they hesitate in accepting the change. But through directing, change can be implemented easily. Why? Because the superior will guide the subordinate that the change is for their betterment. The change which is implemented is for their betterment, that is beneficial for them. So they will convince the subordinates, and then it will be very easier for the management to implement the change in the organization. So these were the importance. Then comes the element of directing. I've said earlier also that supervision is not there in the course. Then we have to do three: motivation, leadership, and communication. So we'll start with motivation. Motivation is the will to work. What is the meaning of will to work? It is the willingness, the desire of a person, of an individual to work, to perform. And it is a psychological phenomenon. Why it is a psychological phenomenon? Because it is an internal feeling of an individual, internal feeling of need, desire, aspirations, and that influences the people, that influences the person to behave in a particular manner. Okay, so that is a psychological phenomena. So motivation is stimulating, inspiring, inducing the employees to perform to their best capacity. Okay, then comes the terms which are related in, or terms which are there in motivation. So first is motive. Motive is the inner state or the desire of a person because of which he behaves in a particular manner, he works to achieve his goals. So that is the inner state or desire. Now suppose a person is very hungry. Okay, now to fulfill his need, what he'll do? He'll start searching for food in the house. So he is behaving in a particular manner for fulfilling his need of hunger. So motive is the inner state or desire because of which an individual behaves in a particular manner, because of which an individual performs a particular task. Then comes the process of inducing people to perform. This is what motivation. Motivation is a process in which employees or people are motivated to work. They are induced to work. They are stimulated to work. Okay. So next is motivator. That is incentives or techniques or reward which is given to the person, to the employee, because of which they get motivated. So motivator are incentives, that is reward. It can be in monetary terms or non-monetary terms. So these are the techniques, the rewards which are given to the employee so that they get motivated. Next comes the characteristics of motivation. So it is a psychological phenomena. I have explained that it is the internal feeling of an individual. So like need, desire. So that is what it's a psychological phenomena. Then it produces goal directed behavior. As I said, your desire or your need is that if you are hungry, your need is to get food. So you'll start searching for food in the house. So that is a goal directed behavior is there. Your goal is to eat something, to get something, so that you can fulfill your need of hunger. So your behavior will be guided, behavior is being guided because of that particular need. So it is goal directed behavior. Motivators can be positive as well as negative. So it can be a positive motivation, like in an organization, if every in the whole month, if the employee is coming always, he is always on time, he is never late, suppose some extra benefit is given to that employee, so that is positive motivator. And negative is, your salary will be cut. Okay, suppose 3 days or 4 days late you are coming to the organization, one day salary will be deducted, so that is a negative motivation. Okay, means punishments are negative motivators. Then we have, it's a complex process. Why it is a complex process? Because we are dealing with people, their inner state, their feeling. So it is very difficult task to motivate a person, because every person, every human being has different feelings, they have different attitude, so it's a complex process. Then motivation is dynamic and a continuous process. Why dynamic? Because human beings are ever changing. Our needs are unlimited and it goes on changing. Once a need is satisfied, another need comes up. So you are hungry, you are looking for food in the home, in your house. So when you get food, your that need is satisfied. Then you start looking for the remote, so that you can watch some television show. Okay. So then one need is satisfied, the another need comes up. So this is what? It's a continuous process. So motivation is a dynamic and a continuous process. Continuously you have to perform the function of motivation. So these are the characteristics. After characteristics, a very important theory we have to do in this, that is Maslow's need hierarchy theory. This theory is given by Abraham Maslow, and this theory is based on need. Okay, the need, the desire, and which is always in hierarchy. Hierarchy means there are some lower level needs and then some higher level needs. Okay, so we'll start with the assumption of this theory. Assumptions, first assumption is that behavior of individual depends on need. Okay, so why we are behaving in a particular manner? Because it depends on our need. Your need is to study, so that is why you have joined this session and you are learning. So your behavior is guided by the need. Need are always in hierarchy, means there are some basic needs which is to be satisfied first, and then there are higher level needs. Once a need is satisfied, it ceases to be a motivator. Then another need comes up. So when a lower level needs are satisfied, person moves to higher level. Okay, these are the assumptions. This will be more clear when you will do the Maslow's need hierarchy theory in detail. Next comes need. So according to Maslow, there are 5 types of need. First is psychological need, then safety and, sorry, not psychological, it's physiological. And next is safety and security need, then social need, esteem need, and then self-actualization need. So, okay, by mistake I said psychological, but I'll relate this. See, psychological, as we have seen that motivation is a psychological phenomena. Psychological means it is related with your mind. It is not related with your body. And this need is physiological need. Physiological need means related with your body. So what is the need of our body? Our need of our body is survival and maintenance of life. So we need food, shelter, clothing, sleep. These are the basic needs which every individual has to satisfy. So this is basic need or physiological need. Okay, never write psychological. Motivation is a psychological phenomena, but this need is physiological need. Then comes safety and security need. This is the need which is related with securing the future. Now the person wants to secure his or her future. So there are 2 types of safety need, physical safety and economic safety. Physical safety means you want to protect your body from illness, fire, accident. So this is physical safety. Then economic safety means you want to have sufficient fund so that you can meet your physiological need in future also. Okay, now taking example of an employee, of a person who has just completed his degree and he wants a job now. So all his needs, all these 5 needs are not satisfied till now, is unsatisfied. So when he'll get a job, he'll get a basic salary, and from that basic salary he can purchase food. Okay, then he can have a rented house, he can purchase a house, or he can have a house at rent. Then he can purchase clothes also. So his basic physiological needs will be satisfied when he'll get a job. Now suppose that job is temporary, then second need is not satisfied, that is safety and security need. So this need will be satisfied when his temporary job will become permanent. Okay. Then comes social need. So after getting a permanent job, what we need? We need some people, some friends in the organization. Then only we'll feel comfortable while working. So this is a need for love, compassion, friendship, affection. Okay. So this is social need. After social needs, next is esteem needs. So this need is related to the respect and recognition in the organization, in your life. So when a person gets job, from his basic salary, with his basic salary, he satisfies his physiological needs. Then with by getting a permanent job, his safety and security need is satisfied, because he'll get pension, he'll get provident fund, and he'll have sufficient fund for meeting his future physiological needs. Then social needs, that is need for love and affection, is satisfied when he is having cordial relationship in the organization. Cordial relationship means a very good relationship, understanding between him and his superior, his subordinates, his colleagues. So that is social need. Then comes the esteem need. Esteem need is when the need for respect and recognition. So this need is satisfied when the person gets promotion in his job, when he gets some special status, some title. So this need is satisfied through non-monetary incentives. There is no money attached to it. The employee just want promotion. He wants a special status or some title. So this need of respect and recognition gets satisfied with this. So last one is self-actualization need. This is the need of achievement of goals. That means whatever you want to become in your life, you have not satisfied that particular need. You have achieved your target. So this is self-actualization need, which refers to realizing or reaching the aim of your life. Okay. So in this point of time, at this point of time, the employee wants more and more challenging job to prove himself always that yes, I can do this job, and this is my potential. He always wants to show his potential. So this is self-actualization need. So in this figure, it will be clear to you all. The basic physiological needs is the need for air, water, food. You can see at the bottom, air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. This is the basic physiological need. Then comes the safety need, that is personal security, employment, resources, health, property. These are the safety need. We feel safe when we have all these things. Next one is love and belongingness, that is social need. This is the need for friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. Then esteem need, that is respect, self-esteem, status, recognition. You are getting all these things in the organization. Okay, strength, and then freedom to work. So that is esteem. And last one is desire to become the most that one can be. That is achievement of the self-aspiration, achievement of the goals in life. So the higher level need, these needs, motivation increases when these needs are met. When the self-actualization need is met, your motivation increases. You always try to show that yes, I am capable of doing this, I can do multiple tasks, or I can handle any of the situation. So motivation increases when this need is met. And for lower level needs, motivation decreases as needs are met. Means once your hunger is satisfied, you have got the food. Now that food is not at all motivating you. Okay. So these needs are satisfied and the motivation decreases. Then comes incentive. Incentive, as I said, is the reward, the benefit which the employees get in the organization. So incentives are monetary or non-monetary reward offered to the employees. So there are two types of incentive, financial incentive and non-financial incentive. So financial incentives are calculated in terms of money. Whenever you are getting money or anything which can be calculated in terms of money, you can calculate the value of which, then it is a financial incentive. And non-financial incentive value when you cannot calculate the reward, the benefit in terms of money. Okay. So these are the two types of incentive. So the first one is financial incentive. Financial means which can be calculated or expressed in terms of money. Okay. Now first is pay and allowances. That is the salary every month you are getting, the allowances you are getting. Then comes profit sharing. The organization, they share the profit with the employees. So that is profit sharing. Again, money is involved. Co-partnership or stock option. So when the company shares profit with the employees, that is in profit sharing, this never gives ownership right to the employees. They are just sharing the profit. But in co-partnership, the employees are getting the ownership rights by getting the shares of the company. So when an employee performs very well and exceeds the fixed target, then he gets the shares of the company and he becomes the partner. A kind of ownership, that ownership feeling comes. So again, money is involved here. Then bonus is the extra reward you are getting apart from the salary. Commission is incentive which is offered to the employee working under the sales department generally. Then comes the suggestion system. This is the reward which is given to the employee if the organization gains something because of the suggestions offered by the employee. Okay, suppose the employee has given a suggestion that if this method will be, is implemented in the organization can earn more profits. It can increase its profits. So if that suggestion is implemented and organization gains because of that suggestion, so the employee will get some reward. That is suggestion system. Then productivity linked wages means where you get higher wages because of more productivity. Then retirement benefits such as pension, provident fund, gratuity. These are retirement benefits. And the last one is perks, fringe benefits or perquisites. These are like medical facility, free housing, or free education for the children in a particular school. So these are called perks, perquisites or fringe benefits. So these are all these all come under the financial incentives given to the employees. The last one is non-financial incentive. Non-financial incentive, as explained earlier, this is the incentive which you cannot calculate in terms of money, and this satisfies the esteem and self-actualization need of the employee. So first is status. Status is when related to rank, authority, recognition or prestige of the employee. I said rank, authority, recognition in the organization and prestige. Okay, so when higher status or higher rank is given to an employee, he gets motivated. Second is organizational climate. That means it is a relationship between superior and subordinate, and this directly influences the behavior of the people. If there is a there is very good relationship between superior subordinate, the employee will get motivated and he will work nicely, effectively, efficiently. But if the relationship of a particular employee is not good with his subordinate, with his superior, he gets demotivated. So that is organizational climate. Then comes career advancement, means getting promotional opportunities in the organization. So that is career advancement. Last one is next is job enrichment. This is assigning of challenging jobs, always getting challenging job so that it becomes more interesting. The challenging jobs are always interesting for the employee and he gets motivated. He wants to show that he is having that capability of performing a challenging job. So this is a very good motivator. Then we have uh, employee recognition. Employee recognition means giving some special reward or respect to the employee. You can see the photograph also, employee of the month. This is a special reward given to an employee which satisfies the ego of the employee and he gets motivated. Then we have job enrichment. Job enrichment, sorry, we have already done. Then we have job security. Job security is giving permanent or confirmation letter to an employee and he gets secured for his future gets secured because of this, and there is a lifetime bonding between the employee and the organization. So that is job security. Then comes employee participation. Employee participation is involving the employee in the decision making process. So he'll start participating in decision making process and he'll get motivated. And last one is autonomy or employee empowerment, means giving more and more freedom. Autonomy means more and more freedom to the subordinate, which will then the subordinate will develop confidence and this will improve his skill and he will get motivated because of this. So these are the non-financial and financial benefits, incentives which an employee gets, and with this we complete the motivation part of this chapter. And in the next video I'll explain leadership and communication. Thank you.